I commend the brave soul that asked me in the chat room for the live big board today if the yen was going to turn the corner and worthy of getting into. When you talk about the yen to the dollar, or just the yen in general, people will throw barbs at you and run the other way, but we'll talk about it here. Here's the yen to the dollar, ETFs, FXY to UUP. You can see the Andrews pitchfork is anchored back as far as it can go in 2007, and the AB is placed nicely here on this big downdraft, and now we have a downwards trajectory, and the yen to the dollar ratio is hitting the bottom line here. The short-term KST is pointed up, intermediate term pointed up, long-term pointed up. So those are three indications of yen strength over dollar. And it does not concur up here, as the short sellers have flocked to this in strength when Japan Fed Bank did not raise rates, so they just started shorting the living bejeebies out of it, and that has generally pissed off the Japanese government and hierarchy up there. So they're threatening intervention. They have been for the past few days, and obviously nobody's paying any attention to them, besides the fact that the dollar is becoming stronger. So there's still a big battle royale between the yen and the dollar, but the indications are in this ratio that it should turn the other way, meaning the yen should start outperforming the dollar. I got into it a little bit today with a long in FXY, not too much, and the differential between the bond rates between Japan and the United States will eventually narrow, as Japan is just now starting to finally get the inflation that they wanted after decades of disinflation. So they should have to hike soon. Everybody thought they were going to do it last round and they didn't, but eventually they will, and then Powell and company will eventually cut, so that differential will narrow eventually, and the yen should start taking off just because of that. But they're threatening intervention in the yen, the Japanese government, so they're going to maybe come in and buy another big huge pile of the yen. They did it back here in April and May. It created a bump up, but then it had a downwards trajectory, probably dollar strength, so they're really fighting it on a couple of fronts. And here's the dollar here, dollar USD chart. So I have this line here, 105.63, and it's flirting with going back above that again. Did back here, and then promptly fell off the face of the earth, but it's making a strong comeback to threaten going above it. And recently a high of 105.56. That's just a few cents away from making the jump over it. And if it does and starts gathering momentum, then it could eventually go up to 107.12, this other horizontal line here. So that does not bode well for the yen, and the battle royale will continue. However, in this gold chart, we'll take a look at the gold chart here. You can see it's going sideways. Really no threat to the breaking below 2285 to execute this big M. What we want to look at are some of these ratios down here, especially gold to the yen. So it's positively correlated and trying to bump up. So if the yen does show some strength against the dollar and they intervene and it works and these short sellers start covering, that means gold will probably bump up along with it